Good morning. This is Suraj saying, civil engineer from Faridabad, NCR, Bharat, India. We talk in connection with civil engineering building practice, or you can say field engineering. I delivered many talks before. Probably, I hope you may find some interest in that, if not full. This is not exclusively meant for engineers. This talk is meant for engineers, supervisors, foremen, and those who are involved directly or indirectly in buildings. This is not an object for designs. This talk is an object for practicality of construction engineering on site or wherever it is throughout world. And it's based on my personal experience. I had produced a book in 96 which was started from 92 to 96 based on my experience of Iraq and other areas. In 96 it was regarding Doha, Iraq, Libya, and many other experiences based on complete practical aspects of site construction in those days when there was no advanced technology like computers. It was very difficult at that time to compose a book which contains technical subjects, technical materials like sketches, and do everything by manual use. So it was a hard work and it took me many years to compose it. And I already talked about site activities that professionals and semi-professionals have to work on. Whatever activities are there, I explained to you last time many issues such as which are covered in building, and those are I have explained to you about various procedures, planning how to do that, and it was last time up to last time I told that in categories regarding classes of planning that were explanation of classes, then preparation of various bill of quantities, preparation of various building specifications, converting these documents to bid documents or tender documents, shortlisting, pre-qualification of bids, tenders floating, tenders closing, scrutiny and negotiation, then bid bonds and site handover, commencement of construction, supervision and control by various agencies working in contact areas, coordination and liaison, contractors organizational structural levels, contractors agent, internal dealings with contractors organization and dealing at site, elaboration of coordinations pointed earlier, I said, architectural, structural coordination, structural mechanical engineering coordination, electrical mechanical engineering coordination, reflected ceiling plans, structural electrical finishes, structural plumbing and drainage services finishes, external service, external works, liaison to statutory bodies, structural coordination, and in liaison chapter I explain main contractors and subcontractors, subcontractors, main contractor and resident engineer and engineer, contractor, other main contractors, main contractor, local statutory bodies, main contractor and engineer. What a contractors agent is supposed to do, maintaining site diary, etc. Some consultants prefer daily job records and some prefer something else. Daily report submittal or daily job record, metal submittal performer, etc. And continuation of that. I'm just briefing you what I've done so far so that you have a then shop drawing, working drawing, performer, weekly program, quarterly program, complete program, bar schedule, bar schedule chart, allocating percentages to a particular activity operation, revised program, monthly progress report, monthly technical and coordination meeting, internal as well as external contract site meeting, minutes of technical and coordination meeting, monthly progress report, special and instant meetings, site memorandum, site instruction, engineer's instruction, valuation to subcontractor, minor subcontractor, reflected ceiling plans, record drawing, as-built drawings. These I had explained till last. I had explained till last. And what else I am going to explain in future course, I would just like to brief, just to name now so that we can continue after that, because I said this I just said Record drawing as well. Then after that, I shall take up request for inspection and test report, material test record, concrete pour control, ready mix concrete, material status, schedule, working drawings and shop drawing, complete coordination and liaison, uh, complete coordination and liaison. Then liaison is internal dealings with contractors organization, material requirement, coordination with garage, daily report to head office, coordination with main quantity engineers, surveyors, uh, coordination with office managers, staff, and other agents, coordination with contracts manager, miscellaneous labor problems, coordination with other sections of company, agents dealing at site, daily program, daily supervision, daily material orders, solving instant site problems, solving problems with regional engineer consultants, solving staff disputes and ordering, labor bills for wages, overtimes and leave salaries, labor working on contract, preparing rebar schedule, proposals for alternatives to resident engineer consultants, technical study and job instruction, daily meetings and generalization, analysis of project cost based on program, what a deputy agent, sub-agent should do, what a site engineer should do, what a general foreman should do, what an assistant engineer should do, what a foreman should do, what a plant engineer or foreman should do, what is an office manager, time clerk, keeper, storekeeper, what a mechanical engineer should do, what an electrical engineer should do, what a public plumbing and drainage engineer should do, what a road engineer should do, what specialist works, engineer and supervision, engineer's office, structures level, resident engineers and supervision, what a resident engineer should do, contractual legal aspect, architectural engineering consultant, structural engineering consultant, civil works engineering consultant, mechanical engineering consultant, electrical engineering consultant, plumbing and drainage engineering consultant, quantity engineering consultant, officer staff, inspectors, clerks works, working relations, records to be kept in resident engineer's office, corresponding performer, supervisory controls, engineer's instructions, minutes of coordination, technical meeting, minutes of contract site meeting, remedial works notes, remedial notes, confidential letter variation orders, index, snagging list format, or you can say punch list, for promise charts, day works, context letter to engineer for practical completion, completion certificate correspondence for practical and final completions, site clarification, general inspection request, concrete pour inspection requests, daily job records, accident report on site, performer for inspectors chambers record, performer testing and commissioning, operations activities involved in swimming pool and construction. I'm just referring to what I may in the future for your advanced information. General activities in a building construction execution, sports court surfacing, epoxy floors, concrete auxiliaries and resin compounds, knowledge of different types of contracts, package deal contract, bills of quantity contract, schedule of rates contracts, lump sum contract, itemized lump sum contract, bill of quantity plus percentage rate contract, cost plus percentage contract, cost plus fee contract, labor rate contract, target contract, construction by direct labor subcontract, construction by direct subcontract, some miscellaneous contract terms, prime cost, some provisional, some price enhancement on materials, enhancement on wages, extras, lump sum, itemized contract, bill of quantity contract, fixation of extra price, unforeseen circumstances, labor applies claims, daily claims, delay claims, practical completion, civil engineering project management. Management contract for building practices was a typical one, civil engineering division, construction contract, new site, and then there are sketches and building profiles and all that. This which are going to take up in future, and I have so far taken up issues like that up to as-built drawings we had discussed last time up to as-built drawings I think, and I just explained to you what means up to as-built drawings. As-built drawing very important part of our profession. Record drawings, as-built drawings because just various explanations I have given in that connection. That first of all, let me just brief what we discussed in the we briefed about various procedures, how we start job, how we design them, how to convert it to contract document or tender document. You may see tender document as well, because before contract is awarded, it is tender document. After contract is awarded, it is contract document. And then how you interpret them, how you use them, what sort of drawings are there, specifications are there, BOQ is there, various conditions are there, and forms of a contract are there. All are there. It's not simple job. If it's a big job, big project means big, so many documentations and involvement of statutory bodies, all that. And it's very much, you can say, professionally based construction activity, just not designs alone. Design can be a part in that if it is EPC contract, but if you take only construction contract, then design is different issue. And there are parties which are, you can say, one is promoter or owner who is responsible for that project, and other party is constructor or contractor, and then there's independent party, that is engineer. Engineer means title engineer. This can be, there can be architect also. What engineer means doesn't mean civil engineer, it means architects also engineer in this case. So this is a triangle, and this triangle is one. This is a triangle, you can say, owner, promoter, then engineer, and on one side the contractor. And below that, so many others: subcontractors, suppliers, vendors, and so many. If you take owner position, owner is just the financer, you can say financer, and he has a project on his risk, on owner's risk. And then it goes to engineer, whom owner appoints. Owner has appointment, is responsible to appoint an engineer to design project as well as to supervise project. It can be combined appointment, but that is another contract. That contract is management contract or project management contract or project engineering contract. What you call it means where engineer and owner are both parties. Owner is party one and engineer is party two. In that case, that is management contract. Just then you come to other side. Engineer is there, owner is there and contractor is there. Owner shall do nothing on his job, but he shall be a member of that contract. Is party on that contract. Owner is party one and contractor is party two. Both are there on that construction contract. Engineer is not party in construction contract. So there are two contracts. One is management contract and the other one is construction contract. But construction contract shall be superintended, shall be supervised in every capacity by engineer. So engineer is not a party on that. Engineer shall work on behalf of owner. But engineer is not bound by owner. Engineer is bound to an extent. Responsibilities of engineer is concerned. Financially, owner is responsible. Engineer has no say in that, but engineer has to approve everything, recommend everything, provided, and to a limit budget is concerned. Engineer cannot add on his own anything to agreed budget. So it is duty of engineer to do design, to specify, to compose all documents of tender or bid, and to supervise job up to end, or you can say up to completion or practical completion, and if so required up to final completion. And constructor or contract is another person on construction contract which we are talking of here, in which one party is engineer and other party is contractor. Contractor and owner have direct relation on contract, whereas engineer and employer has another direct relation on management contract. But as far as construction is concerned, engineer and contractor have professional relations, not contractual relations. They are not parties on that contract, but engineer has to administer that contract. It's called administration of contract. Contract administration. This is very top profile. This is a profile where you have to control contractor on behalf of engineer, because engineer is not specialist one, but owner's liabilities are there. Every financial liabilities are owner's liability. Whatever plus and minus results in on the project, it's responsibility of owner. Whereas engineer is support, technical support, professional support, cost control support, and safety support, reliability management support. You can say reliability management. Engineer is responsible for reliability of project, whereas contractor is responsible for prosecution of project to an extent contract states mandates, construction of all items, permanent, temporary, etc. And according to whatever is mandated on contract, is responsibility of contractors to do that up to delivery and up to time to which contract is bound by warranties, which we will discuss. So this is a triangular management where particular relations of contract type or contractual relations access between owner and contractors on construction contract, which may come under FIDIC or some other standardized form, or without form, your own customized contract form. So we are now discussing between these three parties. Party 1 on both contracts, management contract and construction contract, owners, whereas on construction contract, second party is contractor, and on management contract, second party engineer. It may be management contract, or it may be fee-based contract, or it may be whatever sort of contract. I cannot go now into that. But engineer and contractor have working relations in the field for purpose of contract administration. It is duty of engineer to work out that with whatever way of organization, as his contract's work is to deliver project construction way. That is what we are going to talk about, and this is very clear, but it's not clear to many professionals, and practically it happens. I'm not talking exactly what happens here in our country, but professionally it is required. So in that case, we have crossed many explanations about how tender is composed and how it is awarded, how it is done, and then what were record drawings we are talking of. We have reached technicalities of coordinations. We have gone through all that. So record drawings I discuss. Record drawings means where there's a project, big project or small project, and it is in areas where service below ground. You can say utilities services do exist, working on live services do exist. In those areas, if you want to start a project, it may be a green project or a brown project. Green and brown, you know very well, I think. Brown is the extension or innovation of a project, whereas green means original project to be started from scratch. So in both cases, we have to ensure that underground services may be running there. We are not sure. If it's authority area where authority involves, authority means local bodies, legal bodies, statutory bodies, they involve, and you have to get information about what services are running below. You have to take that information from different statutory bodies of that country. It may be a municipality, it may be water supply, it may be electrical department, or whatever else, civil defense, etc., where the records are possible. Where because there's a system to record all these. If you want to know information, you have to get those drawings from there, and those drawings are as-built drawings, and as-built drawings means drawings when work is going on, you have to record what work is going on. Are there any changes or there are no changes? You have to ensure that, and whatever changes are done on site, that's called red lines. Record them in red lines, and those are the red line changes, and these red line changes must be approved by all. When the contractor makes this, must be approved by contractor, then his boss, engineer's consultant, and must be on record, and then incorporated in the final drawings, that's called as-built drawings or record drawings. Those record drawings are meant for permanent purpose, for maintenance purpose, and for ensuring something else in future. And that's what I'm talking about. I refer to record drawing, as-built drawing, which means when we start something, if some services running there, we must have a record of that. Or else, if don't find it, then we have to try on site by making such a pit to ensure that some services work there or no. And till that, we cannot use any machine excavation in that area until they get permit. If it is authority area where some licenses are given or some permits are given, some controller is there, operator is there, then we have to take permission from them. This is called work permit or excavation permit. That depends upon what type of area is that. And if you get permit and complete information of utilities, then we have to excavate accordingly, or we have to make a hand excavation and check or ensure there's no service exists that. And if you know there are services running, then we have to divert those services prior to starting excavation something. And this is background of that as-built drawing. And I'm continuing further on that. We go further on that. That is, you can say, after as-built drawings, and I say request for inspections. So I'll read that first and then explain. Request for inspection. I say contractually, contractor is bound for approval of every item included in permanent works on job to be obtained by contractor from resident engineer or engineer For each operation carried out on job, various proformas are available in very simple forms which are used for specific and general inspections and signed by both agent, site engineer in charge, other subcontractors, engineers through record of contractors dispatched to resident engineer who shall depute required engineer or specialist engineer for inspection within prescribed time per contract conditions or agreed conditions or established practice on site or on location. Having inspected requested portion of job, concerned inspecting representative shall comment on request format and grant approval or rejection as case could be, or approve subject to carrying out of comments on site. Is duty of agent to get every item executed, approved on job. Here agent means site in charge, project in charge, or contractor's representative. Now test report I am talking. On-site tests are carried out for various items, namely concrete cubes, concrete slump, water pipes, works, sewerage pipes, works, backfill earthworks, compaction test, water test of waterproofing torches on roof, water test of water retaining systems in structures, for example, swimming pools, water tanks for storage, septic tanks, operational tests of complete air conditioning system of specified period, all installed equipments tests per specifications or codes. All test records should be kept approved by resident engineer. On record. It is duty of contractor to arrange for tests whenever necessary and request be made to resident engineer or supervising engineer, you may say, and and services services engineers or specialist engineers as case be for observations of tests being conducted. Once test fails, it should be rearranged in a similar manner. It also forms part of contract conditions. Material test records. Before material can be put to inclusion, it should be approved by resident engineer based on test reports, and when bulk supplies of materials is made, tests shall be conducted for requirement of specifications and approved for use for permanent inclusions. Certain materials need testings, for example, are sand, aggregate, cement, OPC, SRC, or as specified, water, bearing capacity of soil, backfill materials, bricks or blocks, reinforcement bars, road materials, bitumen concrete, concrete cubes, mortar samples, and whatever else specifically required by resident engineer or engineer in whatever way. Concrete pour control. Concrete is very big item, on every project these days. It involves top raw materials, top natural materials. Now, what do you say? Most buildings are constructed of structural framing by RCC, particularly M20 to M25 to M30 to M35, M40, like that. Before commencement of this activity, a trial mix is done, proposing ingredients of concrete to be conducted by contractor or vendor in presence of engineer, resident engineer, structural engineer, depending on availability and source of constituent materials or ingredient materials and admixtures used. There's more, 3 or more samples are taken and cubes are filled, slumps are taken and temperatures are recorded. As specified cubes are taken at 7th day and 28th day according to codes, and if strength matches the recommended working strength per codes. The resident engineer on recommendation of structural engineer approves trial mix design. Material submittal is made formally supported by test documents and complete details of supplier or source, and approval is granted for material submittal. Ingredients for mix cannot be altered throughout job. Ready mix concrete. For major pours, ready mix or RMC so called as approved by resident engineer is brought from central batching plant and mixing plant and by transit mixers trucks and placed with help of a telescopic mobile crane, tower crane or concrete pumps stationed at one place or mobile on pouring spot or place of pouring. Batching plant may be situated many kilometers away from location of site and therefore transit time must be controlled carefully to avoid start of setting time before compaction of concrete. Agent should permit a fixed time for transit in consent with resident engineers and structural engineers, and once agreed, time should strictly be adhered to. Time of transit mixer being loaded and time it reaches on site must be strictly controlled. Time of loading is usually written by plant operators or foremen on vouchers or docket along with quantity of concrete in transit truck. Say time interval has been fixed as 35 minutes for some site. As soon as truck arrives on site, agent or his man deputed or quality person for purpose of concrete supply control and if transit time exceeds prescribed limit are approved. Load be rejected and sent back at cost of concrete as the concrete mix supplier, otherwise slump be taken and consistency checked. If consistency comes within specified range and mix be allowed to be poured and temperature as well as concrete cubes be taken per requirements, slump shall generally be maximum of 75 mm in case of pour by mobile crane or tower crane and extended up to 100 mm in case of pouring be done by pumps in ordinary concrete, but same may be increased further if plasticizers or super plasticizers are added to ingredients with approval of engineer or resident engineer or as per approval of material. Interval of transit trucks reaching site be decided in advance at time of placing supply orders by site agent or site engineer depending on means of raising concrete from mixer to place of placing, place of or location of concrete and batching plant manager be instructed accordingly. There may be case that truck may keep waiting due to other truck being unloaded and mix in waiting truck heated up, losing slump. In that case, pumping and taking out becomes too difficult. There may be need and a little water in mix for which record we made in pouring record and engineers representative on structure or structural engineer present on site be informed. Quantity of extra water entered in concrete shall be compared with special cube results of concrete of increased water cement ratio, but generally it has been experienced to keep concrete working with increased water cement ratio may not bring reduction in strength. Having concrete being poured, it should be vibrated for thorough compaction and spread in required level. In hot weather conditions, after 20 to 30 minutes of leveling, saturated Hessian bags or in rolls should be spread on leveled concrete to prevent cracks formation due to high velocity winds breezing full of dust and dew and dust laden and due to evaporation of contents of water. For further precaution to retain saturated Hessian from getting dried out, a polythene membrane should be spread over saturated Hessian. Meantime, slumps and cubes we kept on taking and temperature recorded, and date of the cubes with reference to of pore element be recorded. All information be then transferred to concrete pore record register or proforma in a regular manner, recording serial number of pore, date of pore. This is, I mean, two columns are there: serial number, pore, serial number of pore, date of pour, time of pour, quantity of pour, place of pouring, temperatures both, weather temperature and concrete temperature, means of pouring, source of pouring, by site mixing or by batching plant, supplying source, and space we kept in columns in test results on 7th day testing and 28th day testing. This recorded information must regularly be sent to resident engineer along with copies of suppliers' records or dockets same day or next day for verification and for record. Before starting a major pour, say in a big slab, either pour in one go or to a construction joint, to be required in a latter case, place or position of construction joint should be agreed in advance with resident engineer or structural engineer, and preparatory works be carried out accordingly. At place of joint, stop and shutter should be fixed with continuing reinforcing bars piercing through. Next pour away from stop end shall be done after lapse of minimum of 24 hours with prior approval of resident or structural engineer, and surface of the stop end be clearly scabbled to let concrete aggregate be exposed for proper bonding of new concrete with old one and done per specification. Sometimes additional stop ends may be required due to contingent conditions of pour, such as breakdown of mixing plant, breaking down of concrete site mixer or concrete pump, or crane installed for raising of concrete to placement site. In that case, stop ends be urgently required and preparation immediately done after having a discussion with engineer's representative or residence representative on site, for which information shall be given to resident engineer later or next day. If pouring is carried out at late hours or in overtimes, in case program is postponed or advanced due to non-availability of concrete or due to some other reason, engineer's representative or his person on site shall be requested for instant inspection before commencement of bore. Raising of concrete by pump requires a high value of slump, and if some admixture be recommended for high rise tower concrete to reach a value of slump as high as 200 mm may be acceptable provided strength of concrete in short span of time as well as long span of time is not reduced or adversely impacted upon, then specified according to codes as in practice in area. That may be whatever code, national codes or international codes. Main problem on site in pump concrete of flow slump is that of chockage or blockage or of concrete pumps boom due to concrete being getting stiffer and receiver of pump shall not work efficiently. Maybe pump is cleared thoroughly in that case before start of concrete again next batch. Therefore, value of high slump is recommended for concrete being poured by pumps, while in case of manual placing or by mobile or tower crane or some other method, low value of 75 mm maximum is permitted. Mobile pump has been considered good for concreting purposes on buildings of medium height. Generally, in case of engaging mobile concrete pumps, repositioning of pump is easy and doesn't consume much time to pour recommends pour from second or reposition spot, and control 2 is good. Stationary pump. Stationary pumps, if installed, shall require rerouting of complete pipe system for purpose of shift of spot, which consumes comparatively more time than in case of mobile pump. In case of mobile pump, end of disposal site remains free and workpersons can hold that by anchorages applied at end of and in form of ropes to prevent pipe from dancing or luffing due to hydrostatic and hydrodynamic pressure applied at boom. Concrete should not be poured directly from boom to inside of beam, but first be taken down onto slab forms just adjacent beam forms, and then with help of wooden or steel spaders or spades be poured into beam or as so as to avoid bulging of beam sides or so-called opening of concrete forms be avoided. Gang to be regularly engaged for purpose of the train gang or crew to be regularly engaged for purpose for be trained and should not be altered frequently in interest of activity go smooth. During pour, care must be exercised that conduits are electrical laid within slab are not misplaced or broken or the blockouts as provided for air conditioning or plumbing services and drainage services be intact. Or concrete spaces are not out of their positions and persons to look after all these operations, including farm carpenters, be kept on vigil all time during duration of pouring. Must have arranged a group of concrete vibrators along with vibrator operators, usually trained people and two air compressors at least to use, one for operation and other remaining standby. In place of operated vibrators, petrol or diesel operated vibrators can also be brought in use for convenience of contractors. Over vibration of concrete must be avoided. Concreting of columns may not be done fast, very rapidly, therefore, it's not preferable to use concrete pumps for purpose of pouring, but there is no limitation to use of pump. It depends upon operation and engineers or resident engineers. In case the sizes of columns are quite convenient for concrete pumps, should pipe to go in easily and vibration may not cause any problem. Keeping a drop of maximum of 1.5 to 2 meters, columns can be poured by pump also. Site mixing can also be done for minor pours subject to approval by resident engineers, which must be in hand in form of mixed material submittal. Crane shall be best means to raise and place concrete using skip and a circular rubber chute attached to this. So pipe passes into column easily, keeping a drop of 2 meters at most to prevent formation of segregation of concrete or green concrete. Concrete in columns shall be done or should be done gradually, avoiding instant hydrostatic pressure to act on forms. Generally, hydrostatic pressure acts as a resultant at a height of one-third concreting height of one go. Therefore, point must be braced. That point must be braced strong enough to resist expected resultant pressure to prevent forms from opening to let column bulge from verticality. Bottom portion of column is liable to honeycombing due to improper compaction by vibrator hang from a height of 3 to 4 meters from bottom due to negligence of foreman and vibrator operator. Therefore, due care must be exercised on this issue and concerned foreman be given personal responsibility as far as this honeycombing is case of concern. For foundation, concreting process is comparatively easier and be resorted to pumping in case of number of footings are to be poured in one go. Whatever we source and transportation, raising of the mix, proper records of all pours be maintained to ensure prescribed quality control. As explained earlier, concrete cubes should be immersed in water tanks placed under a shed particularly constructed for purpose immediately after being taken out of molds. Next day, in case cracks appear on surface of concrete, within with approval of resident engineer and residence grout be applied, or if cracks develop appear to be very minute size, as usually case of hair cracking, cement mortar grouting may also do in certain cases, but to satisfaction of resident engineer or structural engineer and agent. All sections prior to next pour should be scabbled next day or complete lathings removed by use of wire brushes immediately after concrete is over. For laying, flooring or roofing surface of slab should be roughened by scabbling before concrete gains full strength. Once concrete gang trained has been trained to satisfactory performance, no disturbance or shunting be allowed till it's out of control due to many reasons depending on site control. Definitely certain soils contain sulfates, and then sulfate resistant cement SRC is brought into use in such soils, but this is very old technology. And this book was written by long. Now there are so many issues. Well, I'll just talk of that. Was written. In that case, all foundations and structures in contact with soil shall be concreted with SRC concrete, and those not in contact with soil be concreted with OPC. This is just old technology, but we have to understand that also. Two different concrete shall never be mixed due to chemical detrimental effects and deteriorational effect in structures. Stacks of aggregate and sand should be properly piled up on a strong and good platform, protected from direct effects of rains and sun. Cement may either be stacked in silos with help of cement transporting tankers or on small plants. Storage be done according to specified arrangements, where cement to be placed in mixer hopper by manganese for purpose, and similarly aggregates and sand be loaded into hopper and specified quantity of water be poured into mixer from a top mounted calibrated tank, while weights of aggregates of 20 mm, 10 mm and coarse sand shall be controlled by a dial gauge fixed to mixer. Bottom underneath of hopper is generally filled up with surging aggregates and sand passing out from sides and edges of hopper during loading operations carried out by men, and these extra ingredients would show erroneous readings of dial gauge. Therefore, a care should be exercised all time to clear annular space between ground and hopper bottom. Calibration of dial and water tanks be carried out to be fit all time, so that correct quantities are loaded for measurement and mixing. Then material status schedule. This was just briefly I explained to you about concreting, but later on we'll explain much more details of that one. Now material status schedule. Now, previously I detailed in progress report for monthly site meetings an abstract statement containing summarized details of submissions regarding or submissions or rejections, approvals, ordering, delivery problems, and deliveries made for all scheduled materials to be included. For permanent works shall be called material status and delivery schedule or material status statement. Working drawings and shop drawings, as previously detailed in progress report document, is an abstract of all drawings submitted for approval, rejected or approved, or under process of approval. Works cannot be carried out without approval of these drawings. These, this schedule provides a comprehensive information for drawings, numbers, contents, and date of submission, approval, and issue for all shop drawings for a particular discipline on contract. In complete coordination and liaison, it should be clear that details of technical relations and suitability and accommodation in a given space for all allied building services and structural details adaptability in relation to architectural requirements all grouped together correspond to coordination. Discipline of various types of coordination has already been explained earlier. Liaison. Now, all links to be made in connection with execution of job and as required under operation of control conditions to reach a successful completion. Communication to statutory bodies, other contractors, and correspondence made to various categories of people linked to contract job are referred to liaison. Now, I am just going to explain something else now. Internal dealing with contractors organization, its own organization, which is of utmost importance because this actually is support for your project. So, number one is material requirement. Agent has to when I say agent means project in charge, you can say, or project manager, whatever you can say, doesn't matter. Material requirement: agent has to order on requisition forms to buy locally available materials apart from materials to be imported in bulk quantities and to be specifically procured from a foreign country or source. There might have been an earlier agreement with material supplier at a fixed rate per unit of item, but actually supply is ordered from time to time. For example, cement, reinforcement, concrete blocks, bricks, aggregates, or other standard materials such as roofing materials and polystyrenes to be put in cavity walls and roofs. On requisition are also ordered by agent for purchase of consumable items, including in itemized rates such as scantlings, plywoods, timber planks, formwork, binding wires, Hessian rolls, polythene membranes, nails, tools for work, equipments, water, diesel, spare parts or machines to be used on site, safety measures for persons working on site, miscellaneous expenses for site staff and on workforce camps, maintenance of vehicles, etc. No limit. Agent passes requisition and sends to office manager or head who provides requisition to officer in purchase section to supply required materials to site, or an impressed money is given to site agent or purchase man to directly purchase ordered material from market and then submit bills or vouchers along with material requisition order for reimbursement. All invoices shall be signed by site agent and be as well as receipt of material. Materials which are required on job in bulk quantities having been approved by engineer on material submittal forms are placed in order by issuing letter of credits or LC by head office on material purchase orders received from agent of contracts manager. Materials are supplied on site and verification of delivery is received in a good condition is given to head office. by agent after comparing that with list of materials ordered and materials delivered. All expenses made are debited to accounts of job to know real and actual expenses on job against valuations or against budget. Next is coordination with garage. So now we'll discuss coordination. All time it's not feasible or practical to keep garages and workshops on project site. Therefore, a centralized garage and a workshop service center and stock are kept at one place, and all transactions are made through office by all agents in a contracting company or organization. A plant manager is made in charge of garage and workshops to whom agents place their orders about posting of machines and other major equipments and plants and maintenance of vehicles, trucks and other transports whenever required to site and charge accordingly. In such situation, plant manager may be answerable to head of a company or managing directors, and there shall be witness many loggerheads. Loggerheads means conflicts between agent and plants manager. Plant manager may be overloaded because he is supposed to supply equipment and machines whenever required, and his technicians are often found working overtimes. Generally, companies' light and heavy transports remain under that control for maintenance purposes, maintenance postings, and other controls. Agent has to order issue of aggregate trucks, sands, or some other materials by verbal orders, and same is supplied to site. This is a usual practice when garages and sites are not far distant. Say site is away from city while offices and garages are in city or in vicinity of city, and close contact is not a difficult job. Trucks may cover a distance in fraction of an hour or hour. Good relations between the agent and plants manager can help job to a great extent. Sometimes big contractors own stone crushers themselves, and aggregates are directly supplied from crushers to site on order of site agent to plants manager. Similarly, sometimes big companies engage their own batching plants for concrete mixing and for asphalt concrete, for which plant manager can help agent a great deal. This is a practical aspect. Now, then is daily reporting to head office. In case site is nearby head office, a daily visit of site agent is advantageous to making different correspondences in connection with various letters to which reply must be sent, to deal with matter of immaterial and drawing submittals, to see other people if required for something. In case sites are in the sites far away from office, agent may visit site once a week or other frequency. Agent has to do coordination with heads, quantity engineers and quantity surveyors. Agent has to do coordination work, heads, quantity engineers and quantity surveyors to let them apprise of progress on site. Passing of subcontractors' valuations can also be undertaken during these visits. Then next is coordination with main quantity surveyor. Generally, a main quantity engineer or surveyor for section deals with final confirmation of amount to be passed for subcontractors' valuation. Site agent and quantity engineer or surveyor are jointly responsible for any payment to be made to subcontractor or supplier, since rates secrets are known to agent and quantity engineer only or surveyor only. It's therefore necessary that two should have close coordination. Agent has to direct quantity engineer preferences of subcontractors valuations to be done due to shortage or limited budgets available sometimes, and that's known to agent or contracts manager only, and also priority of job. In fact, subcontractors of the trades who are mostly from roles of contractor are paid monthly salaries, can be kept pending for valuation being paid while outsiders who are regular subcontractors or vendors of entire discipline or tradespeople are kept paid as and when required. Deductions of wage bills already paid to tradesmen working on subcontracts shall be deducted from valuations based on special details received from site timekeeper and signed by site engineers and agent. Quantity engineer shall seek complete information of works carried out by such subcontractors from site agent in time to keep himself fully informed of developments on site. Where quantity engineer and agent act in unison and harmony with great degree of coordination, contract paperwork for head office shall never be a headache. Then coordination with other managers, staff and other agents. Agent's part responsibility is coordination and dealing with office manager to get clearances of demands of site. Labor bills, miscellaneous accounts, settlements, office secrecy to assist in correspondence, typing work and dispatch. Sending telexes and making of international communications as and when required by agent. Agent shall have also to interact with other agents of company for purposes of movement of machines from one section to other section and also use of specialist groups of certain trades from one section of company to other section. Fixed wages or fixed rent. Agents should be friendly to counteract counterparts of other sections to get maximum technical and miscellaneous benefits. Coordination with contracts manager. In companies that employ contracts managers or agents to reduce workload of business from shoulders of agents and to let them involve fully for technical and site controls of job, agent is supposed to report to contracts manager frequently regarding all site matters. Authority of financial section in that case rests with contracts manager and agent has to depend on contracts manager to solve problems regarding machineries, materials and work programs, work arrangements. Some organizations expect agent or contracts manager to be responsible for calculations and compiling tender or bids also. This makes contracts manager or agent as case be fully competent and responsible for making required profits. In that case, agent's status reduces to a project engineer, site engineer if he is technically qualified engineer or a construction manager and to assist him in designing work or site, a consulting project engineer is attached or appointed for that purpose to counsel the technical work for him as far as designs are related to. So nature of his coordination varies from company to company. Otherwise, agent is supposed to be directly responsible to owner of company or head. In fact, contracts manager acts as a director, you can say. Now, miscellaneous labor problems. Agent has to solve Agent has to solve all related problems of his workforce on site. For example, transportation on overtime, messing facilities, drinking and non-drinking water supply, safety during operations, payments of wages in time, leave applications, sanctions, and clearances of dues, look after welfare of all persons working, that a proper treatment is given to all people. In case of accidents, immediate medical aid is imparted with and to see that victim is taken to applicable hospital and necessary information be given to insurance company agency through office manager and also to resident engineer. Also, it should be watched that laborer do not fight on site or play with. For their amusement, a separate place should be assigned by company and necessary entertainment or facilities be provided. Should work persons be provided with due harmony shall exist on site, and good labor management relation would help run site or project efficiently. There is a possibility that personal frictions do generate among workers, foremen and site engineers and work supervisors. In such circumstances, agent has to act too such carefully to let misunderstanding not generate among staff and work people, and he should act impartial in all dealings and should not allow any injustice to any worker. Agent must all time enjoy regards and respects of people with him so that everyone working on site submits in comments in commands his command to his commands. If right man is not engaged for right job for this job, he may have to face a number of problems. A man, if not right for right job, shall not find pleasure in job. An agent, due to his being very experienced on constructions using virtues, shall fit in, shall fit unfit person somewhere else and get the job done. Unfit person for one job cannot be straightaway rejected. In that case, agent shall see that recruitment of person unsuitable for particular job might be by mistake and must try same person from one job to other till he is not made fit all way, and then recommendations of his removal made. Art how to extract maximum from unskilled. Semi-skilled is really difficult and generally not available in engineering books, but by tutorial experience of engineers, this art naturally comes in. In fact, fieldwork is a study like tutorials and a training for an engineer, and that is reason that every engineer must have experience of site for converting or making a consultant, a practical designer, a person of visions, and so many more, which depend on personality and performance of engineer in procedure, in practice. Then coordination with other sections of company. Big companies are divided in sections, say building section, road section, infrastructure or civil works section, or some other section, depending upon status of company. Company may have its own sections of services when they carry entire works themselves. Companies may be having structural and architectural design sections when package deal contracts are also entered in for a scheme. Contracts manager may like that part of road or infrastructural work being a part of site to be carried out by other section of company from point of view of economy or policy of company as a whole. In that case, agent shall have to coordinate with all sections of company for required discipline of his site, for obtaining technical assistance and all resistance assistance for operation of contractual obligation for project. Hence, depending upon nature of company one is working for, agent shall act accordingly to dispose responsibility of coordinating among all sections from time to time. With different contracts manager and different site agents and dealing staff, inclusive of other site engineers and foremen, agents shall have to deal with other specialist engineers also if company employs for purpose to get things cleared from engineer where there is some requirement as such. Better personal dealings and working relations would help a lot in successful coordination works and to move site with maximum men and machine and materials. Now, agent's dealings at site. I'm going to discuss about what agent actually has to do. Again, explaining that agent is site representative, contracts representative, site manager, site engineer, whatever we call it. Question is, what degree of responsibility are shared by agent? Let us say daily program. Though mostly detailed programs depend upon way site engineers, deputy and assistant agents and coordinators as well, general foremen sort out depending upon availability of manpower, workforce or machines and materials to be used or included and job priority, but all need directives and guidance of agent, as one is head man on site and knows everything more than what others do know. That's reason that agent plans all activities for site in a week advance and informs all site personnel so that possibilities of follow-up programs are explored by site engineers and sub-agents in time. Even then, changes shall be made depending on requirements on site. Even then, changes shall be made depending on requirements on site and a number of factors involved. In all daily duties at end of day, agent shall, with misconsultations of site engineer, circulate program for next day and include all urgent and ordinary activities to let site staff plan accordingly, deployment of workforce and machines as best as possible. Sometimes one engineer may not release machine to another engineer due to hindrance on his job, but agent has to advise concerned engineer or instruct holding machine or people or material to release and send to other location per requirement of emergency. And in case engineer does not listen, then agent is bound to instruct and order, denying reluctant engineers to do same or matter shall be reported to head office. Agent shall arrange for materials and machine and whatever else item necessary for following day for plant managers. Agent may order ready mixed concrete if request for inspection for related site engineer has been approved and site engineer reports of his being ready and wants concrete at a fixed time in planned way. Agent shall instruct his sub-agent or site engineers and then further passes and implementation of decision comes under duties of site subordinates or engineers responsible for execution and assistance deployed to assist site engineers. Then let's go to daily supervision. Daily supervision. Agent is not supposed to be all time on site supervision, but once or at least twice a day. He should be at all locations, all corners of job to let him apprise about what has been going on, as he has to write daily job report, and instead of depending on communicated information, better for him to visit works himself so that there should be no misunderstanding in technical data to be referred to in report, which may be in case of collecting data from a designated man. Therefore, agent should himself collect data and make precise explanations. Site engineers often are overloaded and you should not depend upon them to inform you, as they are always busy in running and managing complete technical works on site, and additional works may detract them from doing very important part of job. They are in fact doing more practical job such as labels check, layouts, settings, site supervisions, etc. For journal reports of non-technical nature, say details of workforce available, present, trade-wise and temperatures, materials delivered, clerk can depend, clerk can be deputed who would collect all this information from site and also from subcontractors, details of activities going on, all dealings being made with resident engineer or engineer should be entered by agent on basis of day's happenings or day's activities. Machine leaving or reaching site are already known to agent as without its permission no machine can be released or brought to site. Whether machines remain idle or busy working, agent shall know during inspection visit or so-called visits on site twice or thrice a day and activities as well. This way, daily job record shall not make a problem for agent to compile, and once routine is made, then it shall be very easy since activities of previous days are known in civil engineering projects. Activities continue to run for a number of days once started with. Hence, previous report shall partly guide agent for day's activities and same you can say application shall also be valid to works of subcontractors. Apart from above, apart from this, agent is supposed to examine whether activities as ongoing at site resemble to specifications and should he find certain deviation, agent should ask engineer or man responsible to rectify same to avoid rejection by resident engineers. Agent is a helping hand to site engineers from higher level as to help site engineer means helps self as he is responsible to contract as a whole as far as site is related to. He is supposed to be most experienced person on site and hence top responsibility for all operations going on. Agent's duty is not limited to site control only, but also according to professional conduct. B. He should also train junior staff by providing them with opportunities and guide them whenever necessary and help juniors with spirit of technical personality development. So juniors may be eligible for higher responsibilities in future career. Agent should provide opportunity to good site engineers to let them attend site meetings and take part in other management jobs to apprise them of site management functions which shall indirectly be a help to himself as sometimes agent is sick, then he may trust his trained subordinate to act in his place to keep job moving without much worries. Agent may have to go on routine leave after accomplishing of contract period. There must be someone to take care of job temporarily as no employer shall like to bring a senior engineer for so short a period. Therefore, trained engineer may be of utmost use at that time. A good and intelligent agent should be liked by all present on site and in office. Well, there is no limit of supervision. Shall have to sometimes supervise job directly when site engineer or assistant engineer are busy somewhere else and foreman or site or some skilled subcontractor or tradesman seek some information from you so that work is not slowed down. due to awaited technical information, and by providing information, agents shall assist site engineers as well job, but later on information be conveyed to dealing engineer as to what was told related people. Agent shall take part, agent shall take care of what people say and others time not. Agent should visit resident engineer and staff frequently to know what are problems on site to find a way to solve same as soon as possible. Never criticize your staff all time, but absorb and let them realize right time of mistakes. Once they know that you are right and wanted to help them as well as job, and there is nothing personal, they shall listen to you and will successfully in a commanding over them diplomatically. Other way, an agent must know about site all time and even happenings either directly or through some conditional personal, confidential person and must reply promptly and reasonably whether whenever asked by consultants or resident engineer or men in head office so that everyone should realize that you do not sleep but are clear of all problems on site and possess such capacity to clear all those hurdles coming in way. Daily material order. Day-to-day use items are purchased from cash impressed provided at site under control of agent, and it's usual practice to buy limited items required on site on daily consumption basis or for a particular activity. Petty items say material for office use, say stationery, tea, coffee, or drinks meant for consumptions of resident engineer or specialist engineers or visitors or all miscellaneous items needed shall all be covered in this activity of agent. During purchase man or men from site engineer, if he needs something to be procured for site, shall all be submitted to site agent for purchase order, and after obtaining sanction of purchase, purchaseman shall proceed for buying. Solving instant site problems. There is no particular specification of a problem on site, and of course, there is hardly a day when there is no problem, either small or big, on sites. These problems are so diverse in nature that agent shall have to apply common sense to solve that these problems and also use technical knowledge in case problem is of high magnitude as far as job is concerned, and also there may be problems of administrative nature created by site staff of your own or head office or subcontractors or by anybody or whosoever else which agent on site shall be supposed to handle. Generally technical and non-technical problems are sorted out at site, but contractual matters shall be referred to contracts manager for further consideration with recommendations and actions after personal discussions. An intelligent person shall not like to his site problems to be discussed in main office as this is a question of his reputation and self-efficiency. Solving problems with resident engineer or and consultants. Generally, problems that occur on sites conform to non-compliance of specified quality controls, method controls, and keeping site tidy. Method should be agreed in advance, and quality control actually depends on performance of foreman and site engineer supervision and overall control of agent. Generally, problems exist where clerk of works or supervisors and site engineers are young, site agents should explicitly instruct all staff ways of quality control without adding to cost of construction. Very much strictness, structures shall also not bear results, but constructive approach to problem. Agent must have capacity to instruct staff, is all people, and at same time convince resident engineer and his men. Solving staff disputes and ordering. Since there is a teamwork on site and no one is entirely in a position to control activities alone for complete execution of job on contract. This is also true that on a big contract where many site engineers are in position postings and large number of activities go on, always results in formation of groups and to keep spirit. Site agent has to fix targets for every group to achieve in a certain time. Consequently, a progress race is generated among different groups, or you can say competition is generated. Site engineers and foremen responsible for job that lags behind a target rate do not feel happy and question of personal achievements arises. Every engineer and foreman on site want to see him ahead of others or his target, and this may be a reason that frictions start developing amongst different groups. Due to over racing, the equipments and machines fall short of requirements and sometimes shortage of work persons mar progress. As company cannot provide immediately everything to all groups economically but expect groups to use items in sequence to planned and programmed lines. Results may be like that sometimes all groups want supply of concrete from either source simultaneously, requiring pumps or mobile cranes and double number of labors, and practically supplies cannot suppliers cannot provide double numbers of items, giving rise to heated site engineers frictions with benefit other one if other gets supply. Similarly, sometimes major deliveries arise from customs for which prior information delayed in reaching site and in odd hours, resulting non-availability of unloading workers, and no engineer accepts to spare a few workers from running activities and posting a practically annoying problem to agent, but agent cannot keep trailer waiting due to limited visa of trailer drive. In that case, agent shall have to arrange somehow manpower either by stopping operations and if possible taking people from outside if feasible on payment basis from impressed. Every officer on site wants to find himself ahead of others, and perhaps this may be reason leading to development of misunderstanding and disputes on site. One foreman wants to say machine working on his site to continue irrespective urgent requirement on other site. Similarly, site engineer worries for his site only. It generally happens that people are short on priority building due to excessive absence or some other reason on a particular day, and priorityless building on other side got more people that day due to no absentees. Neither site engineer nor foreman of that site shall be ready to release people for urgent site if requested by other site engineer. Similarly, disputes arise when concrete is to be poured at several places in one day, and trailer full of load arrives. In all such contingent problems, agent has to carefully interfere and find solutions and order accordingly related or reluctant site engineers and foremen. For avoiding such daily disputes, it's better for agent to hold daily meetings at end of day, calling site engineers and middle level supporting staff on site to his office on site and chart out distribution of workforce, machinery, material, and priorities. In some cases, site engineers and foremen be busy on sites for whole day, and there is no chance for agent to call them. In that case, agent should make a note of priority of job and go to site engineer at end of day and explain to engineers what to be done next day and how to adjust available sources. Agent shall act as a judge on job and think of interest of job as his only man who programmed job. Sequential job schedule approved by resident and engineer, and it's duty of agent to keep program online. Agents' excuses shall bear no value to company or resident engineer or consultants except that sympathize with men with him only. Sympathize. Administrative part of agent is that it should make site people listen to his command. Therefore, agent must be a qualified and experienced engineer in specialist field. All disputes and complaints should be properly investigated by agent and try to bring all to integrated spirit of team work successfully execute contract. Then it is labor bills for wages, overtimes and leave salary. As explained earlier, agent has to certify wages to be paid to workers deployed on site and their overtime bills. Agent has to sign wages bills for all workers along with overtimes. These should reach accounts in time to enable them means enable managers and accountants and accounts clerk check and release wage payments in time. Similarly, applications of workforce who want to go on leave be recommended for sanctions per authority of agent and contracts manager according according to company organization and rules. Agent shall sign leave applications for forwarding based on recommendations of site engineer and foreman. No worker shall leave site without permission of site agent, as site agent must sign card of worker on day of leaving. Site agent can disregard instructions from head office to relieve some workers temporarily and take matter to contracts manager or head office in charge and ask for reasons for removal of his workers from site without his consent. And if there is enough ground for that, an agent is convinced he may agree for release of workers or may refuse otherwise. Labor working on contract. It's common practice to give incentives to some good workers to let them work on fixed rates for an item so that work progresses fast and question of overtime as necessary in usual case is not required. Such minor contracts need be valued in time so that payments are made in a reasonable time. Indeed, they are paid wages which are deducted from valuations of work done. These valuations are prepared by agent on site engineers, signed by site engineer and trades subcontractor, and certified by agent for a disposal to quantity engineer through contracts manager. Preparing reinforcement schedules. Though this does not come in duties of site agent to provide rebar schedule, but he must know that thoroughly whenever site engineers are busy or agent feels that site people are overloaded due to various activities going on simultaneously, and foreman of or rebar or subcontractor for rebar bending and placing comes to agent that he is not getting required schedules from site engineer even by many requests and his work is held up, agent should take initiative himself and give him work for some days so that spirit of site engineers is not broken. Proposals for alternatives to resident engineer or consultants. Alternatives. To keep work moving smooth and check various constraints, agent must make proposals to resident engineer so that time saving can be achieved and simultaneously contractor is benefited. There may be a problem to procure a particular material. Agent should propose alternative material. Similarly, method statement should be proposed for betterment of job. If proposals appeal, experienced resident engineer in consultation with specialist engineers and recommendations does not mind granting approval provided it conforms standards and doesn't involve any additional cost, but welcome if savings shall be made to contract. Technical study of job and instructions. Though minor technicalities of site are carried out by site engineers, even then, agent must know about details more than site engineers know, which shall help agent to check mistakes done by site people. Site engineers and site staff must feel that agent shall point out their mistakes due to keeping an eagle eye, and hence everyone on execution shall be careful to exercise his duties and add to quality control requirements or at home. Agent shall pass instruction with requirements make site agents to go deep into details of drawings and specifications of site or at home. Agent shall pass instruction in case site people are not able to produce required results due to lack of knowledge. Daily meetings and general liaison. As explained before, agent should meet concerned people daily, maybe site staff, resident engineer or consultants or subcontractors representatives or other contractors in relation to liaison or communicate on telephones. Agent should not fail in any kind of liaison works, verbally or documentary, formal or informal. Every activity must run passing agent's attention. If agent wants to make a reputed figure at site and company and considerations banks books of resident engineer and his staff and subcontractors as well. Apart from Apart from responsibilities mentioned, agent on contracts manager's most important responsibility is cost planning, circulation to an optimum level. No contractor shall like to capitulate on capitalize on invest or maximum to minimum profit return, but minimum of a maximum period over returns. For example, following details exemplify the need of cost planning. Now let's say assume duration of work is 20 months, tender price is 35 million, building works 15 million, engineering and plumbing is 10 million, 7 million plus 3 million, electrical is 5 million, external and civil works 5 million. Now, analysis of project cost price based on program. Now they can say there's a cumulative cost month wise, then external plumbing, then engineering, then electrical building. This is like this can say. Now program work breakup of cost to bar chart network. A practical breakup of month-wise expected cost according to approved program or scheme has been exhibited in this table as I showed before for various disciplines in connection with project. Now, building, see that first 5 months of commencement involvement investment do not seem to be high. If you spend 1 million, you may circulate that amount up to a minimum of 6 months, getting returns from valuations. Be clear that most of this amount shall go to mobilization, excavations, blinding concrete and foundations. Further, if you see up to 10th month, you have to procure building materials such as concrete, steel, reinforcement, shuttering, etc., which are often available on the credited ledger. If you see up to 10th month, you have to procure building materials such as concrete, steel, shuttering, etc., which are often available on credited ledger in market, and you avoid 100% investment on that. Hence, the circulation is not difficult. If a supplier trusts you, this means if you invest just half a million more, you may successfully reach up to 10th month. Between 10 and 15 months where money is required to be paid to subcontractor of your own finishing items and imported items to be delivered only after issuing a letter of credit. You shall need enough money to be invested, let's say 2.5 millions as advance payment to be made to materials and work persons, and local available materials can be brought on credit. Similarly, circulation can be maintained up to, and you should have noted that investment of about 3.5 million has completed the work in 15 millions. Once again, I show you this because it's a little easy and just for information. Okay, we'll move further. Electricals. Now, Solid investment required for electrical items is from 5 to 10 months in range of 3 4 of a million. To purchase luminaries, transformer, etc., a further amount of LC, etc., about 0.75 million is further required and remaining met out of recirculation of money. Now, engineering it needs an investment in a period of 10 to 15 months and maybe of order of 2.5 million on letter of credit to procure material and rest to be met out of recirculation of money. Now, plumbing needs an investment of money up to 0.75 million from 10 to 15 months and on LC and remaining to be met out of recirculation. The external is needs an investment of a site last when money from other items of buildings comes back. This means an optimum planning depends upon how overall working plan has been framed. In most contract, main contractor does themselves works of building items and external landscape, while services are subject to subcontractors. So main contractor's investment remains low, but if subcontractor requests, main contractor has to invest in for subcontractor. Elaborate breakup of cost to be invested and procure and recurring valuations are depicted should be made before commencement of project. In fact, this shall act as an instrument to contract manager or agent to fund project guidance, and everyone in company knows at what time investment from current balance or from other sources at calculated calculated or fixed intercepts is necessary. Agent has to do hard work in beginning but shall remain peaceful and without panic till end of provided and provided running payments are obtained in time. Monthly expenses from job ledger shall indicate whether job is running or in profit or running in loss. By by comparison of valuation done to cost of program curve, suitable recovery measures could be taken, then again must take total help of a quantity surveyor or engineer to make such records in case payments are delayed or job is delayed. Payment is delayed or job is delayed due to some other reason. Raising claims shall be assisted by this instrument of inviting quotations after keeping a little margin. Sometimes in some countries, authority shall link to award a job directly to company of repute instead of inviting tender and seek approval of company at fixed cost by authority. In case this procedure helps to know whether offered price is reasonable or losing. Company may not accept should it be losing by requesting to enhance price of calculated figure while comparing quantities, cost and expenses. Profit percentage shall narrow down. Now there's a tabulation here. I'm just going to tell table over this. Building, the serial number, the building, electrical, engineering, plumbing, etc. These columns are there, and its cost in first, second is reflected. Its cost is reflected in that, and in millions it is. So building, then electrical, then engineering, plumbing, etc. Total investment is shown. As I explained above, same is reflected in this form, which cannot be just explained by statement. Means here I and V are given. I indicates investment and V indicates valuation of works, and serial number indicate month of contract. So it has been given, say, for say 20 to 20 months. So serial number 1 to 20, then I means 0.5, 0.5, 0.5. This is for investment. First month 0.5, second month 0.5, then sixth is 0.5. Wherever there's no return, their investment is shown, and it's for all disciplines: building, electrical, engineering, plant, electrical, etc. And profit element is shown as 15% in this case. So all these details are given, and this is common sense application only. And then an S curve is shown here. S curve, you know very well. This is S curve. It's all manually done long back. Now it is computed. There are things there, but work is same, result is same. Question is how to interpret, how to understand that. And in this, I have made a curves like you may say it's month wise on x-axis and millions on y-axis, and the names of buildings and disciplines. And this is building. One curve is for electrical, one curve is for engineering, one is for plumbing. These are just indications of what data we have selected for this purpose. The total investment has been 10.7 million for profit of 0.545 million, including amount that shall be paid as bank interest, which shall be deducted from gross profit to reach an applicable percentage of net profit for project as a whole. Details of interest have been given on following page for your reference. Now I just speak for discipline of building. Interest details are as follows: 0.5 million for 20 months, this investment, and interest is 0.1 say. Then 0.5 million for 19 months, interest is 0.095. 0.5 million for 15 months, interest is 0.075, and 2.5 million for 10 months, interest is 0.25. So total interest is 0.52 million. Then go to for purpose of discipline electrical engineering, details are just 0.2 million for 19 months, interest is 0.038. 0.75 month for 16 months, interest 0.12. Then 0.75 million for 10 months, interest is 0.075. Similarly, all of the data are given there. Means it can be read and understood how we work in that. Means there's no meaning in giving this quantity because this is only imagination. So what it says that percentage of profit on job as a whole is 9.7%, 9.75%, because profit is 3.389 and total investment is 35, which gives 9.75%. Now this calculation indicates only guidelines, as there may be number of other factors and constraints to be considered for calculation of profit. Contingencies must be there, and main thing in dependencies of rate and margin of profit. Similar curves are shown below, so we'll see that. Now let's go to what a deputy agent or sub agent should do. What a deputy agent or a sub agent should do. When size of project is a big one, when size of project is a big one, considerable time Considerable ends agent cannot find time daily to be aware of every activity personally due to situation of some portion of site to be far from agent's office. It shall be better to deploy some deputy or some senior site engineer to act as deputy agent to look after that portion independently and report to agent. In that case, site execution controls of section under consideration in consultation with agent goes to sub-agent, deputy agent as case may be. Sometimes coordination works on site is excessive and and above agent may not care of that. Alone agent may not care for that. So for his assistance, a coordinator in capacity of level of sub-agent shall be deployed and let agent take overall responsibility. In that case, often desk work is done by sub-agent per directives of agent and agent only signs finally. A sub-agent can also be appointed to take independent care of machines on a big site and take decision of replacements per agent's directives. For a particular special activity for whole project, a sub-agent can be employed to help project. There is no strict hard and fast rule to appointment of a sub-agent. In fact, they are all very rare. In absence of agent, deputy agent shall officiate. Sometimes a deputy agent or sub-agent is responsible to take measurements of all sections of buildings, either himself self or from site quantity surveyor or engineer, and prepare claims and valuations. Nature of a duty, nature of duty for a deputy or sub-agent vary from time to time. Nature of duty for a sub-agent or agent varies from time to time, being administrative one time and technical and other, and oral sometimes for terrorist part of project. Sometimes a qualified engineer may be deputed as a deputy agent or sub-agent to prepare reward schedules or to steel fixer man per drawing and details to assist overloaded site engineers. Sometimes he may be deployed for preparation of working drawings, record drawings, or etc. Assisted direct against the assisted agent in his works. And on top of what absolutely is. Okay. Now, what a site agent should do, I mean to say, a kind of job description which is not given anywhere, but you have to establish your own job description. Why to depend on someone to tell you you have to do this? You are a responsible person and you do that yourself. Just to see how much you can cover in that. Site engineer should do. Site engineer is in fact a real executive person on site on whom rests main responsibility of implementations or prosecutions of decisions either taken by resident engineer or his staff or by contractor or agent. His technical executive means site engineer is technical executive person on executive or executive engineer and responsible for full responsibility. He has to share full responsibility as far as drawings, details, and specifications related to that activity are concerned. Engineer has to site engineer has to see that works carried out on site from benchmarks taken over to finished buildings are done correctly and under supervision with supports of deputy engineers or assistant engineers, general foremen, junior engineers, and foremen, and other site staff and work persons. Site engineer is fully responsible to arrange workforce, materials, and machines for site through agent and see that no barrier comes in the way. He has to arrange access to site, water supply for construction, concrete manufacturing arrangements, day-to-day distribution of job through support for construction, concrete manufacturing arrangements, day-to-day distribution of job through junior engineers and assistant prepare inspection reports, calling inspection people, calling inspection people from resident engineer's office when required, checking quality of works produced, maintenance of all records, and sending to agent for further repair, reporting to resident engineers, getting quantities of works measured through site quantity surveyors, making daily job records of the section or site, checking other workshops output in progress daily engagement of people on overtime if needed, meeting agent regularly to discuss program and method of work to advise agent make to make alterations through regional engineer and specialist engineers. It's a little complicated one, but this is the last one. I will say again that I'll repeat it as fast, better, so maybe it's not very clear. I'll split whole this para. Site engineer is in fact real executive person or site on whom rests the main responsibility of implementations of decisions either taken by resident engineer, his staff or by contractor or agent. He is a technical executive person or executive engineer and responsible for full responsibility as far as drawings, details and specifications are related to. He has to see that works carried out on site from benchmarks taken over in finished building are done correctly and under specifications and with reports of deputy engineer or assistant engineers, general foremen, junior engineers and foremen and other staffs and work persons. A site engineer is fully responsible to arrange workforce, materials and machines for his site. Though an agent and see that barrier comes in his way. No barrier comes in his way. He has to arrange access to site, water supply for construction, concrete manufacturing, arrangement of due to day-to-day job through junior engineers and assistants, prepare inspection requests, calling inspection people from regional engineer office allowed, often junior, wait a minute. Yeah, I have some missing. Let me see. Site engineer is fully responsible to arrange workforce, materials and machines for his site through agent and see that no barrier comes in his way. He has to arrange access to site, water supply, construction, concrete manufacturing arrangements, day-to-day distribution of job through junior engineers and assistant, prepare inspection requests, calling calling imperatives, calling inspections people from regional engineer often when required, checking quantity, checking required quantity of works produced, maintenance of all records and sending to again for further referring to Further reporting to resident engineer, getting quantities of works measured through site quantity surveyors, making daily job records of his section of site, checking or work work person's quit, work person's output or progress, daily engagements of people on overtime if needed, meeting agent regularly to discuss program and priorities to advise agent on purpose of materials to advise agent of different methods of work to advise agent to make the alterations through resident engineer or through specialist engineers. Site engineer has to see that electrical, air conditioning and plumbing engineers and all other and foreman turn on site to do job allotted to them so as not to obstruct building works in case some obstructions remain or works of these disciplines are not taken up simultaneously, in which case agent should be fully informed through site engineer. Site engineer should know complete specifications meant for job and to accurately within tolerance as specified in specifications meant for job and do accordingly within tolerance as specified in in specifications whenever some disciplinary is this discrepancy discovered by site engineers, that should immediately be brought to notice of agent and decision awaited for. In case he finds that over busy, that agent over busy, he be brought to notice of agent and decision waited. In case he finds agents over busy, he may discuss that with resident engineer or consultants and seek decision and inform agent accordingly. Site site engineer should find out good people who can be entrusted with petty contracts and discusses with agent for finalization of subcontract. What site engineer expects is that he should get enough material, machines, and work persons in time to run a given work to, to programmed lines. He has to check that people are not absent, assisted by timekeeper. In case separate timekeeper is not attached with a site engineer, then foreman shall have to check entrusted as site was. Again, on small sites, he has to check that people are not absent, assisted by timekeeper. In case separate timekeeper is not attached with site engineer, then foreman shall assist to check absentees on site. On other sites, senior engineers' experience on construction site can be entrusted as site agent come site engineer to report to contracts manager. Site engineer should attend contracts site meetings and if possible also technical and coordination meeting. Minutes of meeting should be circulated to him to apprise of situation. Site engineer must command over work persons and all subordinates attached to site engineer. Since site engineers are generally young blood and tempered quickly due to nature of job, but it's better to have a little absorption. Just getting tempered at worker or labor and crossing attendance is no intelligent solution, but shall generate a feeling of insecurity among persons. Too often, shouting also doesn't help. Better let shouting business be taken over by site foremen or, or assistants. Deep study of drawings and specifications and thought to find better and easy ways to execute job may also help to be successful reasons. Better let shouting business be taken care of by site foreman or assistant. Deep study of drawings and specifications and thought to find better and easy ways to execute job may help to be successful engineer. Site engineer must promote team out for site and coordinate with other site engineers for exchange of men, material, machines, and technical and engineering information. Most site engineer, most site engineers' time should be devoted to field work and come to office for discussions, drawings, etc. He must check all surveys carried out by land surveyors or land foremen or other technical assistance provided with site engineer for his support. So site engineer has to do a lot of work if he's a site engineer, building work or other work. Now come down to general foreman. What is that and how it works? General foreman. Generally, it depends upon what designation you have, but general foreman is also very important. As this term explains itself, a foreman who knows all works of buildings and has enough knowledge, who understands drawings, must have long site experience or field experience, can be a right hand to site engineer and site agent. General foreman must be a dynamic person to control all foremen, carpenter, foreman in reinforcement, foreman, masonry foreman, concerned contractor, foreman, and command all workers. And command all workers. If a good general foreman is available, job of site engineer and agent goes easy. The tired sitting like this. Okay. So general. Okay, I say that its good general foreman is available. Wait a minute. Yeah. General foreman must be a dynamic person to control all foremen, carpenter foreman, reinforcing foreman, masonry foreman, contracting foreman, etc., and commands all workers. If a good general foreman is available, job of site engineer and agents gets easy. All details are provided to general foreman by the site engineers, and that person arranges for run of details and distribution of daily jobs to work persons according to job requirements on on the distribution of daily job requirements on instructions of site engineers based on site agents directives. A good general foreman may be rough, but if work is considered an asset at site. Sometimes, sometimes his advices are benefited, sometimes beneficial to job. General foreman job is never a sit in offices chair but run here and there. Run here and there to handle job correctly and see that no work person undesirably sits idle. He has to act as a teacher to work persons and other junior foremen by demonstrating a particular activity. General foremen and junior engineers on site are often found at loggerheads, but since general foreman is senior, a junior engineer has to realize has to realize instead the junior engineer has opening to learn practice aspects of what he studied or never studied. General foreman must possess knowledge of mechanical operations and advice from time to time. Agent and site engineer, his ideas, his idea should not be straight away rejected or turned down. He has authority over timekeepers, storekeepers, and Jordan Jordan staff off. Let me repeat, his idea should not be straight away rejected or turned down. He has authority over timekeeper, storekeeper, and junior staff on site to question, and they are supposed to answer. Agent can make general foreman his eyes. A general foreman must seek holy holy bath holy bath. Should say foreman should say site engineers expedite levels lines so that in the idle people are engaged. He has to see that job is moving fast. He has to make sure engineers more and more are busy by his own by his own supported to find a to it's very font is very small actually. A general foreman must seek help of site engineers all time to engineer, as an engineer most of time remains busy in drawings. Then general foreman should ask site engineer to expedite levels. Then the levels times be so that life life idle people are engaged. He has to see that job is moving faster. He has to make sure that engineer more and more busy by his own efforts to find jobs. If site engineer is absent, it is general foreman who should take care of site temporarily. What an assistant engineer should do. In fact, an assistant engineer on a building project assists site engineer technically, namely regarding drawings and details of forms and reinforcement, layout, levels controls, quantity, surveying and valuation measurements, fixing lines to building, supervising concrete mixings, laying and assisting site energy in his job. He has got complete technical responsibility generally for big buildings, assisting. So yes, hmm, let me repeat it. I think it's very small. In fact, so yeah, building supervision, concrete mixing, laying and assisting site engineer on job. He has got complete training responsibility. Generally for big buildings, assistant engineers are deployed to assist site engineer and he must follow follow instructions from site engineer. What a foreman should do? They're coming down and down and down. What a foreman should do? You see, this is very boring actually, but this is a must. You think maybe you're feeling and listening boring how I wrote this. Many categories of foremen are necessary on job. Many categories of foremen. Carpentry foremen to engage carpenters and helpers to erect forms and set set times and check plumb reports, etc. are all related jobs, these are related jobs. Hmm. I want to take 45 minutes more, I think. Better. Bar bending foreman to instruct bar bending how to cut and bend steel and raise place in position on site to satisfaction of engineer and resident engineer, general foreman and structural engineer. Concrete foreman. Concrete foreman is a concrete pour foreman actually. Supervise concreting work carried out by concrete gang and arrange every requirement for same in advance. To see that levels are fixed in required positions, vibration is properly done, slumps and cubes are taken, curing is carried out in time, and the concrete remedials works if required to are done to instructions. And four, masons foreman to supervise and arrange materials and men for masonry job and their finished items such as tiling, flooring, as a check to requirements of walls, verification, verticality, and inquire assistant engineer or general foreman opening limits. He has to he has to check roofing and plaster and attainability renderings. Joinery foreman, joinery and finishers are very delicate job and experienced understandably man is necessary to fabricate doors. Means a man should be understandable because this is very minute. Window frames fabricate, man is necessary to fabricate doors, features, window frames, and product product or produce other items such as cupboards, shelves, and mirrors, ceiling borders, wardrobes, etc., and make them fit at site. There are other foremen too who shall be required from time to time namely road foreman may be one for filling of filling and foreman level, while others for carpenting and as others as surfaces or sometimes sometimes specialist foremen are required for special jobs in different disciplines for a short period when are generally very common trained are not available. What a plant engineer or a foreman should do. The position of a plant engineer is always separately designated, and like general foreman on a small project, he shall be designated a plant engineer or a plant's foreman and supposed to maintain services all plants require, such as batching plant, earth moving machines, such as excavators, rock breakers, bulldozers, graders, payloaders, no end. Once again, I this is because it must be clear about this. Because he may be designated plant engineer or a plant foreman and supposed to maintain and services like plant sharing as batching plant, earth moving plant machine such as excavators, rock breakers, bulldozers, grader, payloaders, shovels, and all other machines given to his responsibility, such as mobile cranes, tower cranes, concrete mixes, stationary or mobile corrective measures, and equipment of equipment of equipment as compressors, vibrators, and all transports meant for site has to make sure that documents hmm, he has to make them available as required by agent general foreman site engineer on job. And before there was shovels and all of the machines given to his responsibility, such as mobile cranes, tower cranes, etc. etc. What is an office manager? A site office or agents had administrative functions vested with responsibility to carry out paperwork correspondences, ordinary ordering material processing, receiving and checking accounts and preparing pay sheets, should have under him a pay clerk, order clerk corresponding security and accounts clear, whose turn could control her, control other staff, such as involve checklists, stories. mm, He should have under him a pay clerk, receiving order clerk, corresponding secretary and accounts clerk, who in turn control other staff such as invoice checkers, store keepers, messages, tea, boys, coffee, drives, what, which, man, etc. Office manager must be smart and efficient as hmm, very font very small. So he should have a pay clerk, auto clerk, correspondence secretary, and accounts clerk, who in turn controls other staff such as invoice checkers, storekeepers, messengers, tea boys, car drivers, watchmen. Of very office manager must be smart and to efficient finance. He has to see smooth flow of materials in sight and ascertain that, and also account, except for accounts to be maintained properly to be audited by a chartered accountant. He has to take care of thousands of invoices and hunters and bloody fools can say sorry. He has to take care of thousands of invoices and vouchers and cash through cashier. Office manager must be a man of integrity, sharply sensitive to mishandling of cash. This is a little complicated one because it is once again I read this better. At site office, agents, head administration, office manager vested with responsibility to carry out paperwork, correspondence, ordering, material processing, receiving and checking accounts, and preparing pay sheets. You should have under him a pay clerk, order clerk, correspondence secretary, and accounts clerk, who in turn controls other staff and such as invoice checkers, storekeepers, messengers, tea boys, car drivers, watchmen, etc. Office manager must be smart and efficient as he has to see smooth flow of material to site and ascertain that, and also accounts to to be maintained properly, to be audited by chartered accountant. He has to take care of thousands of thousands of invoices and vouchers of bills, and each he has to take care of thousands of invoices and vouchers and the cash through cashier. Office manager must be a man of integrity, sharply sensitive is the is, is any mishandling of cash. Time clerk, timekeeper, and storekeeper. Timekeeper has to check attendance and time of arrival and departure of work persons and fill up wage cards and maintain time sheets of machines. Storekeeper has to maintain materials records in store, receive them when arrived, and control the issue of site and inform agent and office manager when stores are available. What a mechanical engineer must do should do. Mechanical engineer shall be employed by contractor when the engineering disciplines is carried out by general contractor himself, or be with subcontractor when engineering works are sublet or subcontracted. In either case, mechanical engineer has to dispose duties as mentioned. This is a long list in this case of mechanical engineer because as an engineering guy, he has to go through bill of quantities of mechanical engineering and all schemes, drawings, and proposed schedules of items for making submittals to resident engineer through main contractor agent for approval. This itself is big one. He has to go through contract drawings and contract specifications for engineering disciplines and check design and form his calculations to match project requirements and reach system which shall be proposed for engineer's approval based on proposed material submittals, and shall submit complete schedules of works, working drawings, and calculation design to the resident engineer through contractor agent. He has to start making material submittals He has to start making material submittals according to material schedule submitted for engineers approval one by one and obtain approval of engineers contractor contractor agent and take necessary actions in placing of orders in respect of approved materials which it's must fill which must fill in trade program to be prepared later based on contractor's main approved program criteria. He has to do design, and he when I'm saying he was mechanical engineer. Mechanical he has to do design of AC system per control requirements detailed in project specifications while contract designs. Contract drawings shall act as guide only or scheme only, and conditional of contracts requires contractor to design, provide metal compulsion. Single line is very poor. Scheme only and condition contract requires contractor to design, provide, install, commission, maintain all as a complete system to first class standards specified in project specifications. For this purpose, mechanical engineers have to coordinate with site agent to acknowledge information of structural design as as beams. Maintain knowledge complete system to first class standards as specified in project specification. For this purpose, mechanical engineer has to coordinate with site agent to acknowledge information of structural designs as beam size, slab thickness, position of walls, and levels of reflected ceiling plan from schematic plan or calling or selling ridges, grills aerospace to be provided for return air, position of light luminaries be kept with levels of reflected ceiling plans, security plans of ceiling, grills, airspace to be provided for return air, positions of light luminaries, etc. So space available for accommodation of AC ducts and probable for routes for supply and return air are located easily without crashing our other disciplines. Knowledge of beam depth, knowledge of beam depth, position of walls and openings for windows and ventilators shall equip mechanical engineer with knowledge of obstructions liable to come in way and let him alter sections of ducts or routes and at same spot. One duct comes crossed over other one and be adjusted in available accommodation for which ceiling height shall be ceiling height shall dictate size of section. Size of section shall include that size shall include thickness of glass fiber, insulation, and vapor barrier over that. If coordinated well in bringing, if coordinated well in beginning, a lot of many contingent clashes at site during carrying out of job shall definitely be avoided. This requires a great knowledge on part of mechanical engineer to avoid remaking of his working drawings after being rejected. He has to work patiently and with Concentration. In practice, there shall be a number of shop drawings submitted a few days or on same. This requires a great knowledge on part of mechanics to avoid remaking of his working drawings after being rejected. He has to work patiently and with concentration. In practice, there shall be a number of shop drawings submitted to a few days or on same day of meeting contract and no drawing for a couple of months. So it be recorded in the meeting that drawings are in progress, but readily this is not professional way. Result of that rash rash submission is very clear that most of that lot shall be rejected and remain pending by subcontractor for a couple of weeks and really no gains on job. Material submittal delays shall add fuel to fire really as drawing keeps. Result is the submission is very clear. The most of that lot shall be rejected and remain pending by subcontractor for a couple of weeks and really no gains on job. Materials submitted delay shall add fuel to fire really as the drawings cannot be finally approved without availability of complete approved details of materials to be included in system. Ultimate loser on the count of non-approval or of drawings shall be electrical man. Ultimate loser, ultimate loser of complete approved details of material to be included in system. Ultimate loser on account of non-approval of this drawing shall be electrical man whose sum of drawings shall not be submitted without knowing details of mercantile related details of drawings shall shall make mess of whole show because of non-availability of mechanical situation. Electrical engineer shall go on crying and main contractor regret appointment on a point regret to appoint you guys as subcontractor for discipline and agent shall be facing a challenge to bring all disciplines together, which is real coordination. If the delays are increased, steady the finishing and on finishing on submissions, recovery programs shall be required from mechanical engineer to scope up with lost time and subcontractor shall having to burn midnight electricity to complete lagging behind work. Very mature sentence. I will explain this one. When having finished submittals, mechanical engineer has to finish trade programs based on main contractor's approved construction program, which be supported by contract agent to subcontractor. Details of trade programs must include all activities and fit into time that of remaining activities and details of work persons, materials and equipments and machines to be used shall be given. Now, we shall attend all technical and coordination meetings at all times, even though work of his discipline has not started yet. If required, he has to come to advise agent to provide back blockouts for AC ducts wherever required in floors, roofs, or walls. It's also true that AC duct and insulation work shall start only when sufficient work area is made available by contractor for AC persons to start activity and covered area is needed to start work. This means that walls and plasters to be finished as soon that insulation and vapor barrier not spoiled by motor. In actual practice, AC first fix starts from after 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 a couple of months of lost contract start of contract. After mobilization, coordination should be in such a way that air conditioning men are not withdrawn from site intermittently due to unclear site. Unclear means is not given access to those workers. Mechanical engineer has to display a mechanical account for men full time on site to supervise all activities and coordinate with work others on site. Mechanical engineer should issue approved prints of working drawings to all concerned and advise agent from time to time clear clear work area. Most important part of coordination is with electrical engineer to whom he has to exchange complete technical statistical details, data of equipment and layout of plant. Both engineers in fact agree over adaptability of both systems or consistency of both systems, or you can say interfaceability of both systems to each other. Once both engineers agree and resident engineer and services specialists agree, then major headache of coordination is over. Ways for both to go ahead with execution of job shall be cleared for supply and installation of discrepancies. Mechanical engineer is responsible to get system approved by resident engineer and specialist engineer and engineers are also big brother are also for post of installation, successful testing and commissioning operations for maximum or minimum of a month or other specified period as contract change states. All equipment all equipment shall be tested and records made in presence of resident engineer and services engineer. Mechanical engineer is responsible to get system approved by resident engineer and specialist engineer and also for post installation successful testing and commissioning operations for minimum of month according to requirement in specifications or other specified period as contract clause states. All equipment shall be tested and records made in presence of resident engineer and services engineers. Agent and mechanical engineer should also act in unison to see that ceiling system ceiling system is not closed before AC systems and any other system resisted its deflection. Mm. Agent and mechanical engineers should act in unison to see that sealing system is not closed before AC system and any item related to that is inspected. This is very important from practical viewpoint. Mechanical engineer has also to advise agent to make various plans for machines and equipments before these arrive on site, and also pedestals for chilled water pipes supports. This shall assist both conveniently carried out elements of equipments and machines installations as well as builders work involved in same. Check clearance of all mechanical engineering items. When I say mechanical engineering, this is AC, HVAC, etc. Clearance of all mechanical engineering items from resident engineer shall be responsibility of mechanical engineer. Mechanical engineer shall also make sure that equipments arrive in time to site so that other disciplines are not delayed. Mechanical engineer shall provide all information for contract meeting to contractor's agent. Similarly, a few months before completion of practically practically or as specified in specifications of project or details of project, mechanical engineer shall provide all record drawings record drawings or as well drawings agent for production. Once again, I read this company was not found. Similarly, few months before completion of project, practically or specified in specifications of project, mechanical engineer shall provide all record drawings as well drawings to agent by onward movement to resident engineer. Approval of records shall be treated as an important work and should be done simultaneously as progress on site. Lift installations shall be an important part of mechanical work, mechanical discipline, because lift manufacturer may not start manufacturing of lift without taking accurate accurate measurements from site so that lift installation time shall be properly coordinated without presumption of being optimistic. Sometimes, due to negligence in finalization and approval of lifts, complete buildings handover and completion shall be jeopardized and held up. This activity of mechanical engineering is very important on building projects because mechanical engineering means engineering actually. This is mechanical work which RCC buildings have very good relation with, and mechanical engineering means it should be first class installation. Which drawings we get are only schematic drawings. Scheme means you have to evolve that scheme. It's only preliminary drawings which are required to be further designed depending upon how many persons are going to occupy that area and what kind of flow and quantity be circulated into that area, keeping in view number of changes to be applied to all machines. It may be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, or whatever changes depending upon occupation and land use or users room use. It depends upon that, and it's a very complicated exercise, and that's called first class design installation. In air conditioning, HVAC is so called heat ventilation air conditioning. It's a big exercise for designs. You can say operational design. In fact, this is before this is approved, calculations are done, worked out, and supported and corroborated according to international institutes whatsoever, whatever code is applying, and this is calculated accordingly, and coordination is done to available structural beam sizes, particularly because beam may come in way and penetration of ducts through beams is not permitted generally. Structural engineers shall never like that. You penetrate your duct through that one, and duct has got many connections, many accessories, for example, volume control damper, fire damper, and many other. pieces, accordingly covered with insulations and accordingly uncovered insulations, because extract duct do not treat insulations covered, whereas supply duct do, and various grills and diffusers. So this is very complicated. Actually, it takes time, and if there is some penetration in structural work, and that again is reinvestigation. Either duct size is widened, the depth is reduced, or something is done like that, so that you can avoid penetration of duct through beam. And this is means very site based and professionally workshop based work. And sometimes sees you find deep beams in long spans, for example 1 meter depth beam in 18 meter span, it happens, or maybe only 60 centimeter, maybe 50 cent or 30 centimeter, only depends. So ducts can easily pass below the soffits of beam, and which is required, and this installation must be fully worked out, and this actually takes time, and then you have to correlate it to electrical discipline, because they are going to provide power, and generally clashes do happen. There are sanitary pipes, plumbing pipes passing through same area, electrical ducts, electrical trunks, electrical trunking, you can say, on these cables move. So there are chances of various clashes, and nowadays gases are also there, and it's a hospital, for example, there may be oxygen, other gases passing through that, many utilities, many hangars, and to cover all them you have to provide false ceiling. So AC work is very complicated. AC system work, centralized AC I'm talking, I'm not talking wall mounted air conditioners units. It's a centralized system that requires thorough understanding before project schematic drawings are converted to working drawings or shop drawings. That is what shop drawings are required for. You may call it shop drawing or working drawings, both are applicable, because when you do final work, working drawings are required, and when you need fabrication work, shop drawings are required. You do work in shop for purpose of fabrication of ducts or their accessories or electric items, and then you have to assemble in a working area, and it's called working drawings. So this relates to all the structures, this relates to electrical, mechanical involvement, it relates to plumbing involvement, gas involvement, medical piping involvement, and whatever other point is the first type of structures that you have to relate. So that's why it's long explanation, though it's not even complete. But we have already documents around to 92, 26, when I was not that mature. But extension always go on, explanations go on all day. So if we write now, I'd write a lot more than that. But don't it means we can understand by common sense. If you know what we are going to do, that's important. And not only this, it requires method statements also. Then you have to prove that what you are doing is right. It's not simply writing. It's not simply drawing. You have to prove what work you are doing. It shall not clash. It shall not result in fire. Because that's the fire dampers are provided. Generally, fire is a result of failure of HVAC system. Electrical system, HVAC system, electrical short circuits, and more, we can say either very slow velocity of chilled air or high velocity. And fire dampers fail to work. If you see reports of those where fire appears in Dubai or in wherever Gulf countries, you will find same problem. Fire dampers stop working. If fire dampers, purpose of fire dampers stop fire. If something happens there, but they stop. Because you can't expect, maybe it never happens. Maybe in 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, who bothers? And by that, life of the damper is over, or it doesn't work properly. So there are so many reasons. As much as services you are providing to buildings, that much risk you are going to take, and that is work is engineering. That's profession. Civil engineer can design a building, structure, and do it. But services are provided by EME engineers, electrical mechanical engineers. And they have different type of working. They have to support building. And civil engineers ensure that this does not impact upon structure. So there are so many issues. We will study that later in details. Now, what an electrical engineer should do. Electrical engineers shall be employed by a contractor when electrical discipline works are carried out. by general contractor or be with subcontractor, as case could be. In either case, electrical engineer shall dispose following assignment of responsibilities, shall go through electrical bills of quantities and schematic drawings as a basis required of any engineer, and prepare schedules of items of making submittals to engineer through resident engineer, to whom site agent shall submit on receipt from subcontractor. Go through contract drawings thoroughly as well as contract specifications for electrical and related mechanical disciplines, and ascertain adaptability of systems for design and load requirements for use. Shall schedule out details of shop drawings and enlist the same in an orderly manner, to make submittals and send schedule to agents for forward disposal to resident engineers for approval. Shall start making material submittals according to approved list and obtain approvals in time from resident engineers and consultants. Shall start making shop drawings for submittals according to approved list of contract documents and shape and shop drawings to contractors agents for onward disposal to resident engineer. Propose trade programs for electrical disciplines on job and fit in to come in line to approved contractors overall program supplied to him by agent. Shall clearly exhibit in that details of trade persons, equipments, and other details required professionally and examine. Shall ensure that electrical jobs on site starts in time, and coordination to building activities being in progress, and items such as conduits, ducts, junction boxes, and all items to be concealed in ground or in floor slabs or in columns or in walls, etc. be procured immediately, and execution done in sequence to building operations. Deployment shall take place immediately after foundations are completed to provide the concealed ducts in ground floors. Few electrical drawings unrelated to AC works should be ready on site, duly approved for purpose of site inspections. Shall see to engage one of trained foremen on site all times to supervise the activities going on and obtain written approvals of electrical consulting engineer and resident engineer. Coordinate with agent on site on time, make himself aware of proposed operations and programs, and also of internal architecture on job, to position points of lights and switches and socket accordingly. Job of coordination with architectural structure is not that much complicated as that of engineering. What needs coordinate are finished floor levels, finished height of false ceiling or suspended ceiling, to check that trunking and cable trays, etc. do remain in ceiling, and space for short firing ceiling system wires is available, to ensure possible elevations of fittings which are given somewhere in project specification or drawings. If not, let some be received from resident engineer. Main coordinations shall exist as discussed before. Responsibilities of mechanical engineer job: adaptability of machines or equipments to cables as provided, or to be proposed by electrical engineer that these should accept load of machine shall deliver as output or input, has to satisfy mechanical engineer for adaptability, and both engineers shall agree and counsel for agreement by resident engineer and a specialist. Electrical engineer knows about technical data of machines, and mechanical engineer size of cables and quality as well as systems, so that two systems match each other. Generally, electrical drawings are left pending, particularly of equipments and machines, due to non-approvals of engineering drawings. Electrical engineer has to finalize ordering materials for approved program and include materials approvals and delivery schedules during technical and coordination meeting, contents of which have already been explained. Attend all coordination and technical meetings and include progress report for submittals and works, and complete details of job including man, material, and percentage of works and drawings and material submittals. issue all approved prints of drawings to concerned people as explained, responsible for inspections of job carried out by people. All equipment fittings are supported to be test approved by resident engineer and consultants on approval record sheet. Act in unison with contractor's agent to get everything inspected before ceiling is closed. Ceiling means reflected ceiling or false ceiling to satisfaction of resident engineer and specialist resident engineers and architectural engineer. Coordinate with agent to make available foundations of electrical poles for external rectification as part of contract. Coordinate with agent to make transformer planes and minor machine planes ready and basis of switch gears, cable trenches as specified in contract details. Provide all informations for contract site meetings to agent. Shall coordinate with agent to make available room for stores. Prepare all record drawings and as built and submit for approval in time as specified in contract documents to site agent for further disposal to resident engineer. These are elementary works which electrical engineer is supposed to do, and we will have further plumbing engineers and all others later on. The purpose is that your building should be handled by qualified professionals and not by, you can say, laymen. Because if you do activities according to professionalism, building shall be required service. Otherwise, it's not building, it's just a box. People do not care and people suffer. Building, they think it's easy job, give to mason, give to carpenter, and they shall do it. This is convention, particularly in our beautiful country, but you cannot say this happens elsewhere. It doesn't matter which nationality you belong to. Question is not that. Question is the how much do you know? How much you can do? How much you can think? How much you can lead to yourself? First you have to lead to yourself. You lead yourself. If you know documents are available, you have to read them. And if you cannot read them, then better leave site and go, because your work will not be approved. Designs are there, specifications are there, standards are there, project specifications are there, general specifications are there. So many documents you have to read. If you are an engineer, you should have the capacity to read. Otherwise, you are not an engineer. You are just a foreman, just electrician, just a technician, duct worker. What's the difference? So you have to spend time. It looks also so many books are there, so many volumes are there. Yes, volumes are there. You have studied these volumes in your education. So why you fear? Concentrate, spend some time. Once you read it, no problem, then you understand it. Then only pages you have to shift to this page, you have to go and find again. Means you have to read. First reading is difficult. In second reading, you will read pages of paragraphs and find I have to apply this page, I have to reach this page, and this is reference number, this number, or this is written. Then you can take clarification also of that. It doesn't match ACI, it doesn't match this IEE, and this match this one is. You can go through all that. Only is concentration. If you want a professional work, you have to be professional. Otherwise, it's just road work, just state work. People do like that. Electrical engineer, mechanical engineer, civil engineer, architectural engineer, or whosoever are there, they are engineers. They are not street washers. They are not broom workers. They have to work. Otherwise, don't go to engineering and don't waste your time. Building is not one day project. It serves for 100 years, 50 years, who knows, maybe 200 years. So these services must work. If these services do not work and result in fire, then serviceability condition has gone, means reliability has gone, means safety has gone, service has gone, durability has gone. Then what you did then? You did nothing. You just spent money, you wasted material. You say it's my money. Question is not your money. Question is natural material. Aggregate is coming from rocks, dust is coming from rocks, sand is coming from rocks, cement is coming from limestone, silica is there. And GJBS there, PFAs there, all are coming from some sources. Question your ownership, question is you are going to waste this material. And once fire, there is no control of fire. So with this, I will close this and talk later on that engineering, even construction is not that easy if you do it rightly. Design is not that easy if you do it rightly. Software you can use, but how will you use mind? Software will give you an information, you can use it. But how will you ensure that this is right? Only your experience can tell you this is right or not right. You can see a building, finishing are very good, everything is good, but what is inside you don't know. So if you want to avoid retrofitting, if you want to use this in a proper manner, if you want to see your building works, good services, gives you safety, gives you comfort, gives you good appearance, no, you can say you don't feel jeopardized all time or endangered. You don't worry about seismic action, you don't worry about wind action, you don't worry about fire, you don't worry about health, and you have to do a professional work for which we are paid. That is purpose of payment. And if you cannot do that, then I have no comments on that. With this, thank you very much. We'll meet again.